a rhetorical question because we don't have a lot of time, but look at these structures. What do they have in common? UC Merced, LaGuardia Airport, Doyle Drive at the Golden Gate Bridge, the Long Beach Courthouse, and Santa Clara Valley Water District groundwater injection. What could they possibly have in common? Well, today, I'm here to talk to you about public-private partnerships, because all of those projects are actually a result of a public-private partnership. And I'm Shelley Doran with Webcor Builders, and today I'm going to talk to you not as an expert on P3s, but talk to you as an advocate on public-private partnerships and let you know what you can do as companies and citizens to actually promote P3s in the region. We're going to talk a little bit about what the P3 is, why do we do them, what's relevant about them, and I want to really show you some schedule comparisons. This is kind of the geek out part of it, where we're going to geek out on a little bit of schedules, show you some delivery options, and then I'm going to give you a quick case study of UC Merced, University of California at Merced, which is the largest social infrastructure project in the country, and it's a $1.3 billion project, and Webcor Builders, we are building this project under private partnership. And then we'll talk about a couple other projects. So what is a public-private partnership? It's a contractual agreement between a public agency and a private entity that allows for greater private participation in delivery and financing of public projects. So it's more than a traditional design build, if people understand what design build is or design bid build is. I want to talk to you about why do we do them? And this is where it's really important for everybody in the room to understand. We were actually delivered a big pot of gold last week when Facebook and the plenary group announced through San Mateo County Transportation Authority that they were going to be pursuing the rail bridge across Dumbarton under a public-private partnership, which is a huge breakthrough, and it's hugely important for the transportation and the 101 corridor congestion. So that was what we were delivered last Friday. We're thrilled about this, so my presentation couldn't be any more timely. Why we do them, it's very simple. We have aging infrastructure in this country. We have aging courthouses. We have aging water, wastewater facilities. We have aging airports. There's really a lack of capital improvement money in a lot of our agencies. And by that I mean when agencies look at capital, they look at capital improvement to invest, but they also have to look at maintain. Well, sometimes that maintenance gets deferred, so there's all this deferred maintenance cost because other things have to be built and things get put off. Under public-private partnership, the deferred maintenance is actually solved. There's also the entitlement process, and a lot of agencies have to go through really elaborate entitlement processes. It takes them a long time. It takes a lot of staff time. It takes a lot of backing. So the private sector is able to help the public sector push through some of these issues in entitlements. Part of that too is things like local hiring, building, veterans hiring, looking into the communities and getting all the communities engaged with hiring and best practices, and it's actually just building community. And then thirdly and lastly, which is really important, is the expedited delivery of these projects. So projects that may be on a capital book for 20 years, the private sector may be able to deliver them in just a third of that time, a half of that time, depending on what the project is. So those are all options to explore when you're talking about public-private partnerships. And I give you a quick, this is the geek out slide, a quick snapshot of, this is actually something current. It's the rebuild of the Los Angeles Civic Center. And so LA is being very progressive in their public-private partnerships. They actually have a very large program at the Los Angeles World Airports at LAX for having their new terminal expansion, their people mover, and their large consolidated rental car facility built under public-private partnership. This is for the Los Angeles Civic Center. It's a current project that's going to be coming up. And this just illustrates to you the difference between a traditional design bid build project, a design build project, and a public-private partnership, which is design build, operate, design build finance, operate, and maintain. And a little bit about what that means is, this means that an entity is going to take on this project. They're going to build the project with private dollars. The agency will then give them payment, maybe we'll call it rent payment, for a certain amount of years. And then this private agency maintains it, operates it for that amount of years, and then they hand it back in the same condition as day one. So it takes a lot. It's a lot of effort to do this, because once your construction costs are fixed at day one, those costs have to go through the life of the project. And then this little thing called operate and maintain, those people have to figure out how to maintain this facility for 30 plus years. So that's when I say a light bulb is not a light bulb, or a door hinge is not a door hinge, because if you forget a light bulb in that scenario and you need like 30 light bulbs at $300 a piece, you're going to be out a lot of money. And actually, that was what was factored into Doyle Drive entering the Golden Gate Bridge. They had to figure out how to maintain that section of Doyle Drive for 30 years. So that's when a light bulb isn't a light bulb isn't a light bulb. Another little geek outside. This is really how a delivery structure works. There's a developer. There's the city, which is the city or the agency. There's a developer. There's a design-build contractor, which the contractor takes on the design risk. There's an operate and maintain contractor, and then there's a debt and equity portion of the projects. These get very complicated, and a lot of the cities are learning how to work within this structure, but this is a basic structure of P3. So now I actually want to give you a real-life scenario of P3 in action. This is University of California at Merced. UC Merced was founded in 2003. It was the vision of Governor Davis, and he was looking at placing what they called the Overflow University in the Central Valley to give opportunity for students, first-generation students, first generation in their family, to go to college. And what they found at UC Merced was you can deliver one building at a time, but you're not really taking care of the needs of the university as a whole. So in 2013, the president's office of the UC named UC Merced as the first campus to look at public-private partnership to build out in totality the rest of the university. They have about 3,000 students there right now, and in 2020, they will have 10,000 students. So this was done under a public-private partnership solicitation with capital cost, our construction cost of $1.3 billion, but an overall cost of $3 billion. Our equity partner is the Plenary Group, which is a global P3 developer. Webcor's the builder, and then we have several architects, but Skidmore, Owens & Merrill is our major architect, and Johnson Controls is our O&M provider. I'm going to skip over the schedule a little bit because I want to show you the enormity of this project. So here's this 243-acre cow field, and this is what it's turning out to be. It's going to be 16 buildings, 3 sports fields, a field house, 2,500 student housing beds, dining commons, and computational and research labs built in 4 years with private money. So this is just really a big feat. This is going to be turned over. The first delivery, which are the dining commons and 1,700 beds, will be turned over in July 1st, and we started in August of 2016. So this is really quite a showcase in the US for public-private university development. Quickly, I'll just talk to you about some other projects that are being looked at around the region. The Napa Civic Center right now is under a P3 delivery. It was just awarded to a developer. As I mentioned, the Los Angeles World Airports are under P3. So this is allowing this huge airport expansion with literally just rent payment costs to the airport. And these will all be delivered within the next 5 years. That just doesn't happen when you have to actually stick to the public partnerships. UC Housing, now all the UCs are underneath an umbrella where they can no longer just build housing on their own. They have to build housing through the P3. Long Beach Civic Center, and then there are several transit projects that are now looking at P3. So we're really happy about the San Mateo County Transit and the Facebook partnership. And I want to look at all of you in the room as advocates of P3. Now that we're seeing that in our valley here, that we could have these projects, let's look at what else that we can advocate to deliver projects under the P3 scenario. Thanks.